Bonjour la classe, c'est moi Monsieur Springer avec quelques mots d'encouragement le jour avant l'examen AP. This class has worked extremely hard. Many of you are taking the exam. I just want to say you've already done the work of preparing. Okay, this online course has prepared you likely more than many face-to-face AP French courses would prepare you for the exam, since there's so much practice throughout the semester. You may be asking yourself, what more do I need to do? You know, I don't understand, or I'm not feeling prepared. Some of you may feel really prepared, which is great. Let me just assure you, if you've been doing this stuff in class, you're in pretty good shape. If I could give you one tip on what to prepare the day before the exam, or, you know, just what to look over, if you're still wondering, I would look over, I would just remind yourself of the, you know, some of the directions for the free response activities. You know, those half of the exam is interpersonal communication, right? Or I'm sorry, interpretive communication, and basically where you're listening, or you're reading, or you're doing a bit of both, and you're answering some multiple choice questions. Keep in mind that while you're listening or you're reading, you can mark up your test as much as you want to, jot things down, things like that. Don't be afraid to do that type of thing. Listen for meaning, okay? And what's nice too, just like you've done in class, I've encouraged all of you to do this actually, you can have the resource open while you're answering the questions. So when you're reading something, like you can actually look at the questions first and see, oh, what is the information I need to glean from the reading? And then you can kind of read with that lens. But just be careful as you do it, though, that you're really reading for meaning as well. Another thing I'll just mention is, if I could give you, you know, a tip of specifically what to look for, I would go through your class, go to table of contents, and just review the directions on the 4 free response activities. So one way of finding those is just to go to like Unité 10 and look at like Leçon 28 jour 5. I'm going to look at the directions for the cultural comparison. Just remember, you have 4 minutes to read the topic and prepare, and then 2 minutes to record. Okay, only 2 minutes. You know, you can't record anything beyond 2 minutes. Remember, you want to get the full comparison in within those 2 minutes, right? Not just about your own country and culture, but you got to talk about a French-speaking culture. I recommend doing it before the 1 minute mark. Might be helpful to have a stopwatch on you, as I've mentioned that before. That way you know when it's been about 1 minute. Or, you know like how much time you have left, okay? Email reply, you know, just a reminder that you've got 15 minutes to read and then write your reply. It's not a super long period of time. I expect all of you to be really familiar with that, because I've mentioned that you need to abide by that guideline. Let's look at the other tasks. I'm going to go to Leçon 29, jour 5. Okay, conversation. Now remember, you're going to be able to look at this thing called like le contexte de la conversation. It might be called something different on the AP test, but you're able to see that as a roadmap while you're recording your responses and listening to what the other person said, okay? So you should kind of follow this as a roadmap. It doesn't tell you what to say, but it tells you where you should be going. All that being said, remember, the free response part of the test, half of the exam, is to show what you know. The more that you can produce, usually the better in terms of language-wise. That gives the AP readers, which is those grading your exam, more of an opportunity to assess how much French you know. And then with the persuasive essay, you know, we've gone over lots and lots of things here. I will just say the following. You can read the sources as much as you need to. With the listening, the third source, you can only listen to it twice. So while you're listening to it, jot down what you understand. Jot down a few notes. You only need to include a little bit of information from each source to meet that part of the requirements. Okay, and again, the goal of the persuasive essay isn't to show everything you understand from each source and explain each source. That's a tool to help you. You are writing a persuasive essay. You're taking a stance. You're using some of the information in the sources to back up your response, but it's your own logic and reasoning, okay? your 3 body paragraphs are not an explanation of the sources. You should explain the source, but that's not the guiding principle. Okay? The other thing I'd say is I highly recommend looking through my feedback on your free response activities, persuasive essay, conversation, cultural comparison, and email reply. Look through them all from this last semester. See what tips I've guided you in. Some of you are still struggling, for instance, in the email reply with the formule de politesse. Some of you still are struggling with ending an email the correct way. You're saying things like merci at the end. You've got to use a formule de politesse, a formal ending. And if anyone has any questions about that today or anything, just let me know. I think you guys are going to do great. Those of you taking the exam, you've had a lot of preparation already. Just wanted to give you some additional tips to consider as you're finishing your prep. Bon courage.